Let's, in fact, bring in one of this nation's top financial advisors to find out how he is playing the market right now. Larry Glazer with Mayflower Advisors. He is ranked by Worth Magazine as one of the top 250 wealth advisors in the nation. Larry, you've heard the conversation. What are your own thoughts on how best to play this market here?
As we near the date where the Fed begins to take action, we won't see a spring thaw in market volatility. We may see the opposite. Even if it's for the right reasons, the market needs to digest that Fed change and that change in policy. And we're seeing that since the beginning of the year. We're seeing a shift in leadership, a rotation in the market. Look, last year was all about equity income. It was about REITs outperforming. It was about utilities outperforming, the S&P itself. This year's a very different animal. We're seeing a shift to the overseas market. The low correlation between the domestic and the overseas markets is notable. The overseas markets are outperforming, and flows beget flows. So we'll start to see investors take heed. And the only thing more painful than the winter in Boston this year has been investing in foreign stocks the last couple of years.
Sure.
And that is changing, and that's a good thing.
Wall Street Journal poses, whether it's time, in fact, to start investing overseas. They point out, as you say, U.S. stocks have dramatically outperformed. U.S. stocks now account for half of global stock market capitalization, which experts say is obviously ridiculous. And there's the stronger dollar that comes into the conversation as well.
Those are great points. It's to the equity income sectors, but that's an area of great opportunity and of great interest to domestic investors. You can get a lot more yield and a better valuation, low price to book, low price to cash flow, lower price earnings overseas than you can get over here. But what's more interesting is with Greece and with the euro, we get a bad deal, right? We got a deal that people aren't crazy about. Europe loves a bad deal because it keeps the euro under pressure. It allows the prowess in the exporting of European multinationals to take hold. So you can buy those big European companies that by definition all have higher yields than their domestic peers, and they get the currency kicker. Eventually, the flows are going to follow, and you get some stabilization in the euro, which has been a headwind for U.S. investors the last couple of years, and maybe less so going forward.
Hey, Larry, it's Josh Brown. Congratulations on being named to the list. A lot of our colleagues in the wealth management industry have gotten, shall we say, creative with the fixed income sleeve of their asset allocation models.
Right.
How do you think about, the way to do bonds correctly to balance out low rates, but the possibility of really needing that dry powder? Because I'm seeing equities being classified as bonds almost everywhere I look these days.
Yeah. You are so right, Josh. And if you look at the last couple of years, look, you could throw a dart and you'd buy the S&P and you'd buy the long muni index and you look like a genius at the end of the year. But this year is beginning to be a different story. And we're going to see real creativity. We're going to see where investors really add value. All those diversifiers have been laggards the last couple of years, but now they're becoming winners. They're starting to help to the picture. And I think what's more interesting here is if you guessed wrong on interest rates that really hurt you the last couple of years, that ship has sailed, right? Because we know Yellen's getting closer. It's when they act, not if they act. So for investors, you don't want to own bonds in your equity piece and stocks in your bond piece. And that's exactly what investors have been doing. They bought the junkiest bonds and they bought the interest rate sensitive stocks. That game's over. That game's over. Look overseas. Go back to the diversification. You get value and momentum coinciding. What a beautiful story that is. And for financial advisors, you get a great opportunity to add a lot of value, which has been tough the last couple of years.
Larry, great stuff. We'll talk to you soon, I know. Larry Glazer, Mayflower Advisors.